Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Will, and today I wanted to follow up with another video on some different group-based activities that you can participate here within New World. So last time we did a video on faction wars and kind of how those work, the politics behind that. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about specifically corrupted invasions. So what are corrupted invasions? How do they work? How do I participate? What triggers them? All that kind of stuff. And kind of jump right in with it by talking about what they are, why they happen. So to the New World Wiki here, there's some really good information on it. So corrupted invasions are kind of a story plot device that New World uses to keep from territories just being full power all the time. Because within the first few days of the game, most of the territories have their crafting stations like super high level and all these things. And this is the way to maintain that balance, to give you something to work towards every few days here within New World. And that is because these corrupted invasions are triggered every 4 days. In the description here, it talks about like basically as territories develop, more players move into them, it draws in the corrupted and they become more interested in what's happening, eventually leading to an invasion on the 4th day of each cycle. So every 4 days, this will be triggered, allowing up to 50 players to participate. A really important thing for you to keep in mind is you must be at least level 50 to even sign up for these invasion events. And the little bit of politics behind this that do exist is the fact that whichever company is in charge of that territory, so whoever owns Monarch's Bluff, for example, will be responsible for this invasion to some extent. They are allowed to, in fact, handpick only 10 participants of the 50 that will be participating. The other 40 will be chosen at random from the pool of people that signed up for the invasion. Again, you must be level 50 to even sign up for the event. Preparations for the invasion work very similarly to the way they work for the faction wars. You'll be loaded into the instance map where you'll defend the fort. You'll have the ability to buy ammo and potions and things like that to defend the fort, to give you some sort of advantage. You will earn tokens throughout the invasion where you can then spend to repair the fort or to purchase more things. When I think of it in comparison to something else, I think of it very much so like zombies from Call of Duty, where you just go wave after wave and it's your job to hold that as long as you can. You earn money and by doing things, and you can use that to upgrade and continue to play through it. So if you think of it like zombies, if you've ever played zombies from Call of Duty, it works very similarly to that. There is 8 specific waves in this, and it will be a 30-minute timer just like Faction Wars. So if you're able to defeat all 8 waves or survive all 30 minutes, you will be victorious, granted a ton of loot, experience, things like that. If you are unable to defeat them and you lose, you are in a situation where you will be losing, as I mentioned, upgrades such as crafting station, fort gates, or even the fort turrets themselves can be diminished from loss. And a really important thing to keep in mind, at least as this begins, is you are very likely to not win. So being that this is a max level event, the mobs are all actually level 60. So regardless if you're level 60 or not, you're fighting level 60 mobs. That's why it requires you to be at least level 50. These waves get progressively and progressively harder, and they get very, very difficult. Throughout the beta, very few people were able to actually complete these invasions. So they're very tough. Again, they're designed to push you back a little bit, allowing you to work towards those upgrades again, just to kind of maintain the status quo within the territories as the game progresses. Nobody wants to play the game within the first week, everything be max level, and then just be max level for the rest of existence. So it's a really cool system that they've integrated kind of with the story of New World to allow some refreshing of the server once a week, almost twice a week, to keep things kind of fresh and going. The last bit we're going to talk about here is actually the different mobs you might face. So it runs through them pretty straightforward here. Again, I'll post a link to this down in the comments, so you can definitely take a look at it if you want. Corrupted enemies are going to be starting with grunts. These are going to be the weak, low-level mobs, the stuff you're used to fighting, but they can be very dangerous if they group up. It's really easy to maintain these groups if it's just grunts coming at you, but as you'll see in a minute, there's other mobs that make it very difficult to wipe out all the grunts and maintain these other mobs. Next is going to be raiders. These are going to be slightly tougher. These are going to be more of like the silver guys. A lot of them will have shields, and they'll take a little bit more of a beating to defeat. They will focus, just like the grunts, largely on players. Then you have snipers, focus largely on taking out turrets and players on turrets. So destroying them will help keep the defenses of your fort up a lot better. Next are bombers. These are more or less the guy from Lord of the Rings that charges in to try to blow open the gate. They basically ignore players altogether and charge directly at the gates trying to blow up. You must kill them before they get to the gate. They will do significant amount of damage to your gate and cause you to lose a lot of resources repairing it. Next are brutes. These are going to be big enemies that are going to be focused on taking out players and just kind of keeping you in line, having these guys in the way can make it hard to handle all the grunts. The grunts can pile up and cause a lot of chaos with these brutes. So taking down these brutes quickly is super important so you can maintain your grunts that are out there. And then finally you have bosses. There's a couple of different bosses. There's giant boars. There's giant eyeball thingies. There's these different things to pay attention to. And I actually wanted to show you guys specifically 2 things that will be happening outside of the fort that you want to keep an eye on that are pretty interesting and unique. So firstly, I wanted to show you guys the bison trebuchet. So this is literally a giant trebuchet that fires bisons into the fort. The bisons are supposed to explode, dealing damage when they hit, but there's also a chance that grunts will spawn out of them, and there'll be grunts inside the fort that have to be killed. They're pretty cool. They're not super difficult to destroy. You can get close to them if you're able to push out far enough and just melee them. Or, like you see here, firing turrets at them will help take them out. Next is actually going to be what are called Void Destroyers. These are giant monolith creatures that are, you can't miss it. They make a really interesting noise when they spawn in. And they fire laser eyes that will focus down players. They're kind of pinpoint attacks. They can fire independently, so they can aim the eyes separately, or they can target a single enemy with those eyes, and they'll wipe things out. Definitely taking care of these quickly is super important. So a couple of things I thought I'd mention real quick. So just to kind of wrap this up, if you are victorious, you will get a bunch of loot, bunch of XP, bunch of gold, which is always awesome. And you will be able to keep your territory exactly in the same condition it was before the invasion. If you lose, you will still be given some loot, some XP, some gold, all that stuff. It was not a waste of time. But your territory will lose some of its capability. So again, diminishing crafting stations, weakened forts, things like that. And also, if you do lose, which is pretty likely, again, these are very difficult. I imagine the first few of these will be complete slaughter fests. Later in the game, I'm not exactly sure how it'll work, if these will become super simple and they'll have to kind of buff them to make them harder again. But yeah, that's really about it, guys. It is a wave-based, 8 waves, 30-minute PvE event, 50 people versus endless mobs that you have to defeat to maintain the grip and the power that you have within your territory. This will be happening every 4 days is the way it's supposed to be scheduled. I don't know if that'll shift or change. You have to be at least level 50 to participate, and the company that controls your current territory will be able to pick 10 of those 50 participants, the other 40 being chosen at random amongst the people who signed up for it. So as long as you're level 50, you can sign up and then just cross your fingers and hope you get to participate in these really cool events where you could potentially make some really awesome progress and do some really cool stuff for your territory. So that's all I have for the video, guys. If you like it, drop a like, subscribe for more stuff like this. I have a couple more videos planned where we'll be talking about some more of these larger scale activities you can participate in and some cool things to look forward to as you level throughout New World. So like, subscribe, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.